Information is power. This is not a metaphor. It is an economic and political fact. Those who control information control markets, politics, and human behavior. The elite understand this completely. They have spent centuries building systems to gather information that others do not have, to hide information that would harm them, and to weaponize information to manipulate people and markets. The gap between what the wealthy know and what ordinary people know is the primary source of inequality in the modern world. The architecture of information advantage, information asymmetry, is the foundation of power in the modern economy. When one party has more or better information than another, that party can exploit the difference. This is not an accident or a market inefficiency. It is the deliberate structure of how power operates. Consider insider trading in financial markets. Research on 18th century Amsterdam and London markets revealed that insiders with private information earned 7% annual returns above outsiders. When Bank of England insiders sensed crisis during the South Sea bubble, 13 of 26 board members rushed to buy shares in April 1720. They knew something the public did not. They profited accordingly. The mechanisms have changed, but the principle remains identical. The Alibar scandal exposed how banks deliberately submitted inaccurate data to influence benchmark calculations. The FX manipulation scandal revealed exclusive chatrooms called the cartel where major banks coordinated to manipulate currency markets. One trader's comment was brutally honest: "If you are not cheating, you are not trying." Banks paid billions in penalties, but the fundamental dynamic persisted. Those who control information about pricing mechanisms can manipulate the mechanisms themselves. The elite build systems specifically designed to create information advantages. Patents protect intellectual property. Trade secrets shield know-how from competitors. Compartmentalized organizations use Chinese walls to prevent information flow. Elite schools charge tuition that exceeds average salaries, ensuring that knowledge remains concentrated among the wealthy. The education system is designed, in part, to maintain an elite class with privileged access to information. The weaponization of information control operates across multiple domains simultaneously. In financial markets, insiders know about mergers and acquisitions before the public. They know about earnings surprises before announcements. This knowledge translates directly into profits. Governments control information through classification systems. Only officials with security clearances receive intelligence that shapes national security decisions. Corporations compartmentalize information so that employees make decisions without full context. Management knows company data. Workers know only their specific task. This asymmetry keeps workers from recognizing exploitation. The elite also use narrative control. Media ownership concentrates in the hands of billionaires. News coverage shapes what people think is important. Stories that threaten elite interests are minimized or ignored. Stories that benefit the wealthy are amplified. This is not conspiracy. It is simply the logical outcome of concentrated ownership of information channels. Those who own the means of communication control the narratives. Those who control narratives shape reality for those who depend on those narratives. Universities and think tanks are also systems for controlling information and legitimizing elite interests. Corporations fund research that supports their positions. Wealthy families establish foundations that direct academic inquiry toward preferred topics. The resulting knowledge flows support elite interests, while alternative perspectives struggle for funding and visibility. Over 6 decades, the number of patents granted in the United States has increased more than 6-fold. Much of this represents an attempt to monopolize information. Basic economics tells us that monopolies produce less at higher prices than competitive markets. Organizations deliberately set up structures to promote information asymmetry. This is intentional. It is strategic. How information inequality maintains power. Information inequality creates a permanent hierarchy. Those with superior information see the future before it arrives. They position themselves to profit from events they helped engineer. This compounds over time into dynasty and institutional dominance. Financial professionals have access to information that retail investors do not. Insurance actuaries know statistical risks that customers do not. Real estate agents know true property values that buyers do not. Used car salesmen know vehicle conditions that buyers do not. In each case, the informed party exploits the uninformed party. The consequences are systematic. In labor markets, employers possess more information about job opportunities, working conditions, and compensation structures than potential employees. This asymmetry creates unequal bargaining power. Employers exploit their advantage by offering lower wages. Workers negotiate from a position of ignorance. Healthcare provides another stark example. Doctors possess far more knowledge than patients. This asymmetry allows medical professionals to make decisions that patients do not fully understand. Patients cannot make truly informed decisions because they lack information. Surveillance represents the most pernicious form of information asymmetry in the modern era. Governments and corporations gather massive amounts of data about citizens. Citizens remain largely ignorant of what data is collected, how it is used, or what conclusions are drawn. This imbalance of knowledge creates power that is nearly invisible. The surveilled do not know they are being watched, or how their information is being weaponized. This gives the watchers absolute power over those being watched. The perpetual advantage, information advantages compound over time. Those who possess information can invest more profitably. Their investments generate higher returns, which create more capital to invest. Meanwhile, those without information make poor decisions. They invest blindly or avoid investing altogether. Their capital grows slowly. Over decades, the gap becomes a chasm. The wealthy grow infinitely richer. The poor grow slowly or stagnate. This is not merit. It is not hard work. It is information asymmetry creating permanent hierarchy. The elite maintain these advantages through education and institutional control. They send children to schools where connections form. These connections provide information flows throughout life. A wealthy person learns about opportunities through networks. A poor person applies for advertised jobs like everyone else. The wealthy person gets hired through a personal introduction. The poor person competes with hundreds. Information creates advantage, which creates capital, which creates more information advantage. The cycle is self-perpetuating. Breaking into elite circles becomes nearly impossible once information asymmetry is established. You cannot know what you do not know. You cannot access networks you were not born into. You cannot understand markets you were never taught about. The system is closed, yet it presents itself as open. Meritocracy suggests that anyone with talent can succeed. Yet talent means nothing without information about opportunities. Information is guarded jealously by those who possess it. The reality of information power, information asymmetry, is not an accident of markets or government. It is the primary architecture of power. Those who gather intelligence better, move faster, control narratives more completely, and maintain operational security more rigorously win. Wars, fortunes, and histories are shaped by superior information. The mechanisms have evolved from spy networks to satellite surveillance to digital databases. The principle remains constant. Information control creates power. Those who understand how to structure information flows determine outcomes across every domain of competition. This is why the wealthy protect their information so fiercely. They are not protecting money. They are protecting information advantage. Money can be taken or lost. Information advantage is permanent. It reproduces across generations. It grows stronger as systems become more complex. As the world becomes more specialized, the gap between specialist knowledge and ordinary ignorance widens. The elite control the knowledge. They control the institutions that produce knowledge. They control the narratives about what knowledge matters. Understanding this changes how you see the world. You stop blaming yourself for not succeeding. You recognize that the game is rigged not through malice but through information control. The wealthy are not smarter than you. They are simply informed. They know things you do not. They have access to information you do not. They were taught how to use information you were never taught. Once you see the architecture of information asymmetry, you cannot unsee it. And the question becomes, what do you do with this knowledge?